Well, good evening and thank you very much for joining us. Of course, we're coming to you live from Uasin Gishu County, and specifically we are at Eldoret Sports Club. This is the venue of this year's Devolution Conference, a conference that, of course, is taking stock of what has been happening, matters devolution for the last 10 years. And, of course, leaders involved are taking stock of the challenges and, of course, the successes they've had for the last 10 years. And lucky enough, on the set, of course, we have the host governor, Jonathan B. Welcome, Governor. But also we have the executive director of KIPPRA, Ngugi, who is also going to tell us matters policy and what exactly has been achieved in terms of the last 10 years, so that then counties can actually be in tandem in terms of ensuring that what they purpose to do is actually in tandem with what people on the ground are actually looking forward to achieving at the end of the day. Welcome, Madam. But straight to Governor. The President was here and he officially opened this year's devolution conference. What are some of the take-home things that you heard or you took from what he said today?
Yeah, first let me say thank you very much. I'm very happy that we are talking to the nation about devolution. First, I want to keep them becoming friends, partners, governors, and all the people who have attended this conference. I want to assure them that was some issues of the county, very good environment. It's just that it's been chilly now, but it is a good place. And I've seen since morning, I've seen governors and our visitors really enjoying. First, today we had the President opening this conference. This conference is about devolution 10 years ago and what is going to happen in the future. And we mentioned the gains, the pains of devolution, challenges. And one beautiful thing I learned today was the President has been able to disperse all the funds made for the counties. The President has shown that he's very committed. We discussed also on how to run this fund, because in the past we've had corruption in the running of the funds of the county, so that people will think that it's a bill where you take money, public money, and use it in the way you want at the expense of development. And for us, we believe that devolution has given power to the small man down there, the common man, because they are given time to choose the development they want. If it is a bridge, if it is a road, if it's a hospital facility, they just make their choice through public participation. So we don't want to discourage these people, and we don't want to disappoint them, because they want to see this thing working. Secondly, it's about the farmers. That this time
just before we go to farmers, a very encouraging gesture from the President when he said that he gives a seal of approval for what has actually been achieved in the last 10 years. Yeah. Probably areas that we need to improve on, so that then one key issue said is that funds are being released on time.
Yes.
What other areas do we need to improve on so that then we can actually achieve what we intend to achieve?
Now you realize that when some devolved units and functions were done, there are others which have not yet been done, and the President was so candid that it is time we unbundle those functions, and it is time that we give those functions down to the counties. And I think that is what we really need, so that when you talk of health, for example, there are certain areas where national government is still holding into. So is agriculture on matters policy, so is water. So I think what the President said today was, it is time we just release all the functions so that governors will be able to run with it, and they will be able to, to work without any interference. And I take that one as a good case.
Fantastic. Talking about policy, and Madam, this goes to you. Where are we at in terms of ensuring that we have the right policies at the county level? Because as the governor says, that it's just a matter of ensuring that we have that policies are in place, so that then we can actually achieve what we intend to achieve. Where are we? Are we coming up with the right policies? And in terms of policy implementation, where are we?
Thanks very much for the opportunity this evening. And I'm very happy that I've come to the Evolution Conference in Ngugi. My institution, which is Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis, has one core mandate, and that is to build institutional and human capacities, for government, both at national, at county level, to ensure that we strengthen the public policy process. Now, when it comes to issues of policy, one of the key things that you realize is that we have the Kenya Vision 2030, which gives us the long term, where we want to be by 2030. And when that is set, every 5 years, we come up with what we call the medium-term plans, and the medium-term plans are expected to implement the Vision 2030. So we can't say that we don't have very good policy framework. It's already set up in the Vision 2030. We come up with the 5-year medium-term plans. That is at the national level. At the county level, they have what we call the CIDPs. And the CIDPs actually mimic the medium-term plans, which means that as they do their CIDPs, they are also expected to reflect the Vision 2030. They are also expected to reflect the medium-term plans, which is at the national level, such that you have what we would call a cohesive way of taking this country forward. So I would say that at the policy level, we have made a very great milestone. Moving away from from independence. We used to have these 5-year development plans, and therefore after 5 years you would be like, so what do I want to plan? Vision 2030, already the path has been made for us. So the question then is, how do we come to implement what we have set aside? And in implementation, there are quite a number of things that one may want to think about. And one, of course, is what the governor has brought in, resources. If the resources are provided in good time, and you have actually adequate resources, it means that you can actually move mountains. But resources are not always enough. And if you think about the government with the revenue that is able to collect, you'll notice that all of us don't get actually what we anticipate. So we set our budget every time, but it's not always that you get what the share that you'd want from the government. But what is also expected, for example, for counties, is to generate their own resources at the ground, because when you are able to generate that, you can actually implement as much of the plans for development that you want, But of course, own source revenue has its own challenges, because taxes are paid by you and I, by businesses and the like. So if at the county level you don't have a vibrant private sector, it means that you may not manage actually to collect as much revenue as you would wish. So it's a whole thing of one thing leading to another. Yes.
So fantastic, Governor. Creating an enabling environment at the county level, and one of the passionate things I know you want to talk about is farmers. How then do we ensure that they are generating enough, not just for themselves to eat, but also that it can generate income for themselves?
Thank you very much. Uasin Gishu is not just another county, it is a farmers county, and almost 100% of our land is arable, and we are big on maize and wheat. Now we are going to diversification, avocado, coffee and the rest, and also we are on dairy. What we want to thank the national government for is how they did give us subsidized fertilizer, whereupon now we are seeing what is happening in our farm. We are expecting farmer harvest. What we want to tell our farmers is now that the government is supporting us to some extent, let us be very careful not to dispose our produce early. It is better we wait until we harvest. We have mechanism to manage post-harvest losses, and we are planning also to take care of the well-being of the farmer. And knowing that Uasin Gishu is a blessed county, we call ourselves the county of champions, and not because of athletes only, even in farming.
In the farming,
we are the brain basket of Kenya. And to give you an example, last year or beginning this year, when we had famine striking in other counties, it is the only county we came up strongly in support of foodstuff. We mobilized foodstuff materials to those counties which were stricken. For example, Turkana and Pokot, even Baringo, and the other side of KIPPRA. We did mobilize, and I want our farmers to be conscious that God has blessed us, has given us natural rain like it is now. Let us, when we harvest the pamba harvest, let us not sell our maize early before time, just wait a little bit.
Yeah, but Governor, yes, we have bumper harvest, right? And that glut is always there, especially when God has blessed us with rains.
Yeah.
Then the question people will be asking is, what are we doing to ensure that even as we anticipate the bumper harvest, that we put in place mechanisms that will ensure that quickly we will be able to purchase the extra harvest from the farmers, so that then we store it for future?
Yeah, actually we have a system called warehouse receipt system, where we can store farm produce of our farmers. We will issue a receipt instead of money, and this receipt is valid. You can go get some loan from the bank or some money as you wait for the wood prices to come up. And at the same time, we also have a cooling plant for potatoes. We have stores and silos to dry up the maize and all that. So at the end of the day, we want to manage post-harvest losses, and at the same time ensure that the farmer has profit out of what he has done. And profit is the real thing. It is not just farming, it is also making money, so that you have
so that money can actually be in the pocket.
Time is
of course. I was just about to list you before we leave the set, so that then we can actually continue with the executive director of KIPPRA. The question then I'll be asking you before you leave is this devolution conference is actually happening in your county. So far, how do you like it? And going forward, how do you ensure that we're actually reaping maximally from it?
The beauty about this devolution conference, it is not any other devolution conference. This is a unique one. It is done once in 2 years. We are calling it biennial devolution conference. Now, if we are doing it once in 2 years, that tells me the next devolution conference that will come here is after 94 years. So this is the first one. It is so historic to us. We cherish it, and we know now we are part of the devolution process. One thing is that out of what we discussed today, we have the president. Tomorrow the leader of opposition will come. We will have the deputy president. We have ambassadors, our partners. What we are discussing as a takeaway and breakaways are matters policy. And we are going to come up with issues that we think when implemented is going to help us going forward. So these are very important.
Your promise to the people of Uasin Gishu County as
Uasin Gishu, I want to assure Uasin Gishu people that we are moving on. We have started on a good page. My Nguso Kumi, my talking points, campaigning pillars are ongoing. Right now, our ECD teachers have been confirmed and permanent and pensionable. Our small children are getting milk twice a week. Our farmers are feeling good because the fertilizer was subsidized. Now we are dealing with water. Our roads now are motorable. We have done 800 kilometers of roads around Uasin Gishu by grading, and now we are in the process of maraming. So at least we are on course. Our hospitals, before devolution we had 60 hospitals here, but now we have 138 facilities now in Uasin Gishu. That tells me that at least the health is reaching closer to the people. So Uasin Gishu, we are in for a prosperous future, and I want to thank the people of Uasin Gishu for election.
Fantastic. That is Governor Jonathan B. of Uasin Gishu County. We have to let him go because he has other important issues that he wants to address on the other side of the hall, so we'll allow him him to go. But as he leaves the set, of course, we'll continue with the Executive Director of KIPPRA, Rose Ngugi. So what the governor was discussing, just be assisted to move the other side. Executive Director, what the governor has actually been talking about, the enabling framework to ensure that people at the county level can actually achieve what they want to achieve. Understand that you've actually come out strongly to come up with a framework, a foil or a carbon copy of what we see in terms of Vision 2030 or even of other financial institutions all over the world. Just tell us about what we are trying to do to ensure that we have a proper framework at the county level, so that then people who are residing at the county level can actually achieve what they want to achieve, and especially SMEs.
Yeah, first of all, we need to recognize that the aspirations of Vision 2030 will only be achieved if there is growth at the county level. It is at the county level that we make the national peak. So if things are not moving at the county level, we cannot get into the 10% growth rate that we have aspiration for in Vision 2030. So it means that we need to create an enabling environment for businesses to grow, to thrive at the county level. And when you look at the structure of economic activity at the counties at the moment, you'll notice that a lot of it is agricultural based. So we have less than
Well, those are just the ongoing conversations on the sidelines of the 8th edition of the Devolution Conference that is still ongoing up until Saturday. We're going to be keeping tabs on what comes out from that particular edition. When a conversation has been 10 years on, have these devolved units delivered? And if not, what is holding them back?